There are huge needs in the world.
There's issues all around the world.
I know that Latin America has a lot of necessity.
Most people in Africa do not know where the next meal will come from.
Many children, they're living in the street.
So when you talk about people living on less than $1 a day, it means that every meal is a prayer.
There's an acronym. It's THUMB. There's the tribal groups, the Hindus, the unreligious peoples, the Muslims, and the Buddhists. These are people that are desperately trying to find God.
I think it's easy to watch the news and look at the people over there.
The word says we don't battle against flesh and blood, but it's principalities, it's powers of darkness, it's demonic forces.
The people are not the enemy, Satan is the enemy.
Most of them are not jihadists. They're just trying to raise their families and feed them.
When we realized that, we could see them through Jesus' eyes.
Why do I pray for Al-Qaeda leaders? Why do I pray for the Taliban? Why do I pray for wicked people? Because they don't even know they're puppets for demonic forces.
A friend of mine from Nigeria told me, he said, Mike, the work of missions is prayer.
What is Operation World is a book that refers to me the reality of every country.
That's why I like Operation World. When you talk about different countries, the people groups, talk about Kenya, over 40 different tribes, talk about Nigeria, over 150 different dialects.
How they live, how many they are, what are the culture, the customs, their economic condition, their social condition.
Operation World puts practical help in the hands of believers to know how best to pray.
God bless you, sir.
As a pastor, I wanted to put in the hands of the people that I lead a resource that can expose them to God's heart for the nations.
Back when I was a pastor, we had a missions conference and we had a book table and offered Operation World.
And I have to tell you, I'm kind of geographically challenged, so honestly that was the first thing that drew me in, was being able to see where each country is, what the people group is, you know, the basic statistics on them, and then to be able to pray for them.
When I started praying for these people in this area of the world called the 1040 window, God started doing something in my heart.
The more we prayed globally, the more God opened our eyes to see really how small the world is and how short our time is.
And God has called me to pray for the billions of people in the 1040 window.
Well, I do know God has called us to go, but He doesn't call every single person to go.
How did it happen? It was all birthed in the place of prayer.
It started with prayer.
And I know that God responds to prayer.
Just because He hasn't called you to go doesn't mean that you can't be on your face, and your prayers are the things that are going.
And I know that I'm praying the will of God when I'm praying for the salvation of other people. Hello, of course. Why should a church pray?
We've got to understand that God loves each and every one of these people.
And if we do not pray for these unreached people, they will go into a Christless eternity.
Jesus said, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. So ask the Lord of the harvest to send out workers. When He saw the need in the harvest, the first thing He told His disciples to do was to pray.
Globally, the global church, there's 1% that are involved in any kind of global outreach or prayer. Imagine if we could move that needle from 1% to 2%. Double that. Just imagine what God would do.
What we see that is happening in the Middle East right now, what's happening in some of these 1040 window nations, we didn't know how God was going to answer our prayers, but we kept hitting that mountain and hitting that mountain and hitting that mountain in prayer because we want to see God's people set free. That's why we continue to pray.
And so prayer is something that changes things, brings hope.
So it's happening even in the most difficult places in the world. Believers are praying and God's answering.